So I'm making this video to go over a couple of things that I've discovered over the years about these ram's horn snails. The ones I have are the pink and brown variety. But yeah, a couple interesting things that I've discovered about them. Let me show you this guy up here. So this ram's horn right here, about this time ago, a year ago, this is right now we're in November, I'd had this container outside using it as a mosquito larvae collector through the summer, and had thought I got everything out of it. Froze solid until about February. So at least 3 months. This little snail grew up in that freezing condition, and you can see this line right here as kind of gets fatter after this ring. That's where he was frozen solid for, again, that it was a solid brick of ice for at least 3 months. But since he was a survivor, I put him in this tank, and yeah, he ended up reproducing. Still in pretty rough shape. That's not all this video is about. Just thought that was kind of amazing. You know, these guys, I'm not saying freeze all of them and they'll be okay, but this particular case, it was an accident. In the spring, I brought it in to use the container for green water collecting and Paramecium infusoria cultures. Let it thaw out, and this guy started moving around. My next story, turn on the light here, it's down in this tank. Move my chair here. So in this tank I have my Japanese blue Endler guppy crosses. And at night, these guys, they like to sleep on the bottom of the tank. There's one night that one of my big mama fish, you may have seen in my 75 gallon, there's 3 or 4 of them that are about 4 years old that I refer to as my big mamas. But I removed them from this tank because they were getting so big and they became an easy target for the snails. One day, woke up in the morning, turned the light on, and right here I saw a great big cluster, maybe about 50 snails. Now to the middle of that cluster I saw a little guppy face with its lips still moving. So I pulled the cluster out, and the guppy was still alive. Most of her scales had been eaten off, and she survived for about 3 more days. Swam around in the tank. Finally, the last day she quit swimming and eventually died, but just from her practice of sleeping on the ground here, and if I remember right, I'd kind of cut back some of the feeding on this tank. So the ram's horns were exceptionally hungry. There was also a lot more, like you couldn't hardly see those rocks. They were just completely covered with ram's horns. You can still see I have a lot of them in here. I had just collected maybe a couple hundred out over the last couple of days from this tank and fed them to my loaches and goldfish. But yeah, it just wanted to cover a couple of those interesting facts, like, can you freeze one solid and will it survive? Yes, this guy right here is living proof of that. Want to look at the guppies again. Squirrel. This is also the tank that I have my huge 2-inch blue Neocaridina shrimp in. Don't see any of the big guys out right now, but yeah. My pretty Japanese blue endlers. Wanted to share the story with that. And then have one more thing here I'd like to show you. So this here is another ram's horn that is mutated and has a spiral shell. It's another morph that I got out of my green water tank. And these, I had 2 of them that look like this. I put them in this tank and letting them reproduce and kind of getting a mix. Just had a guppy jump into my hand. See how this one, it's kind of spiraling out a little bit. Not as much as the other one though, but trying to separate the genetics and see if I can come up with a non-ram's horn. Sorry, it's not focusing well. See, those 2 just look like normals there. I'll pull them out of this tank. But yeah, just some more interesting stuff doing with ram's horns. Yeah, hopefully you found that interesting. Got a little bit of hopefully you learned something you didn't know about ram's horns. For one, ram's horns can morph into non-ram's horns like I just showed you here. Ram's horns will pin down and eat sleeping fish if they get a chance, as I proved in my showing you in the guppy tank, the Japanese Endler guppy tank. And that ram's horn snails can freeze solid, and for at least 3 months thaw out and be fine. Look a little rough, but yeah, turned out just fine. And here's one of the surviving 4-plus-year-old big mama guppies. When they get this old and get that fat with babies, their back always seems to get that bend at about year 3.5. But she's probably dropping about 100 fry per spawn right now. And again, the thing with her back there, that's not genetic as far as I know. I found anyone who gets really old guppies, female guppies, they tend to get the bent back like that. But she's you know, good size of most of my thumb there. And it's about a year ago they had one of her sisters pinned down to the bottom of the gravel. And everything from the neck down, wasn't a single scale left. Everyone's like, you should have gotten it on video, but I was so traumatized and wanting to save her, I just got right to it and pulled her out. Just have to take my word for it. We'll end this video taking a look, see if we can find any pea puffers. You see them? Got another buddy down in the Rotala there. I don't know if you can see it, they blend in really well. And several more back there in the jungle. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Been wanting to make a video on those for a while. Just finally was like, well, let's get out the camera and get it done. If you have any questions on anything I said, or have experienced something similar yourself, please leave me a comment down in the comments. If you got anything out of the video, thought it was interesting, please press the like button. If you'd like to see more of what I have going on here, subscribe. And on the left hand side there, you'll see a link to a playlist and to a video. If you have a moment, check it out. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day.